Okay, so welcome to the Let's Play for Bloodborne. I'm Lenny from Bloodborne China Shop, and as you might notice, this is this channel's first video. So yeah, look, it's my first try at something like this, so I figure we'll just see how this runs through, and we'll find out how we're going. Now, bear with me a few seconds, because I do have to make some adjustments just so that I can hear myself talk and make sure everything through the system is running a little bit easier. So let's start with the music. Alright, that's a lot better. Now I can hear myself think a bit. Thank you for putting up with that. So like I said, my name's Lenny. Welcome to the Bloodborne Let's Play. I'm going to load up the game now. As you can see, I'm got a level 110 at Isofka's Clinic. You might notice that this quite obviously isn't my first playthrough. This is a New Game Plus. Someone told me ages ago that you're not really playing a Dark Souls game until you're playing on New Game Plus, so I figured, you know, that's where we're going to start, and we'll see where we end. As for what we're going to be trying to do, we're going to aim for we're going to try and platinum trophy this bitch. So I've got a few things that I need to get in order for that to happen. We're going to pop out of the game for a second. Give me a second here. We're just going to do a quick overview of the trophies. So, Old Hunters, we've got to get all the Old Hunter weapons for that, to finish off the Old Hunters, you know, all that stuff, and get that final trophy for Bloodborne the Old Hunters DLC. As for the actual game itself, we've got 2 hidden trophies, which I'm honestly not sure what they are, but I will figure that out with a quick trip to the Bloodborne wiki a little bit later on. I don't know what that one is either. So we've got 3 hidden trophies so far that I'll have to work out. But other than those, all I really need to do is get my hands on all the hunter weapons and all of the special hunter tools. Now, considering that there's 3 hidden trophies, I'm assuming that there probably 2 of them would be endings, which would leave us with 1 trophy there, or one of the other trophies. So if you guys will bear with me for just a moment, you'll probably hear my phone going off in the background in just a second. I'm just going to use it to jump on the Bloodborne wiki. I'm just going to take a look at what those hidden trophies are, just so I can get a good idea of sort of where we're going and what we're going to be aiming for. Miss Bloodborne wiki trophies. Okay, Yharnam Pumerian Queen. Oh, that's probably one of them, not. Honoring Wishes. Okay, so yeah, the last one is Yharnam Pumerian Queen. Defeat the Blood Queen of Old. Defeat Yharnam, Blood Queen of the Old Labyrinth. That's gonna be the bitch. Because I didn't do the labyrinths last time through, because I don't find the Chalice dungeons to be particularly enjoyable. Nothing against the actual dungeons themselves, it's just I wanted to just hammer on with the story, and they weren't something I particularly enjoyed. So, looks like we'll be diving into the Chalice dungeons a bit this time, just to get that final trophy, and if we can pull that off, then we should be able to grab the Bloodborne All Trophies Acquired Platinum. Hats off. Now, there's also 3 endings to Bloodborne. You've got Childhood's Beginning. I'll try not to spoil it too much, I'll go down. That being said, this is kind of an older game, you know, it came out in 2015, so if you don't know the endings by now, then I don't really feel it's still a spoiler, but I'll do what I can to avoid where I can. So we've probably got the Yharnam Pumerian Queen. We've got 3 endings. You've got Childhood's Beginning, Something Wishes, and Yharnam Sunrise. We'll try to see all 3 of them in this playthrough. If anyone's wondering how we're going to do that, probably going to try to save scum my way there. If not, and I can't do that for some reason, then I'll find the ending somewhere else, just the ending scene by itself, and I'll patch that into the last video, however long that takes to get there. At least that way, by the end, you guys will have seen all 3 endings, and I'll have a platinum. So, hopefully that ends well for all concerned. Now let's go back to the actual game itself. So like I said, we're going to be on New Game Plus. Now, if anyone doesn't know what New Game Plus is for Bloodborne, effectively speaking, when you finish the game the first time, you have the option to replay it with the same character, keeping all of your items, all of your levels, all the blood echoes that you had at the time, which are the game's version of currency. I passed it with Sir Douchington. It was supposed to be Sir Douchington III, but well, that didn't fit in the name box, so we just couldn't get that. Anyway, the pluses or the changes to Bloodborne apparently on New Game Plus I know for sure. I've just taken a quick brief read over of what apparently it does. Apparently you get enemies in new locations, and a few enemies get a few different attack patterns. So it hopefully should be enough to keep me on my toes, in addition to the enemies themselves being a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more health. You know, they're all beefed up. Apparently they'll kill you about as easily on New Game Plus as they did the first time around, so that should be... You should see me get pretty frustrated at points, I'll give you that much. So we're going to jump straight in with Sir Douchington here. I don't know whether or not we're going to be seeing the intro cutscene. If we don't see the intro cutscene, then I'll apologise. I'll see if I can edit that in post. If we do see the intro cutscene, you can completely forget about whatever the fuck I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Pale blood. Well, you've come to the right place. Yharnam is the home of blood ministration. You need only unravel its mystery. But where's an outsider like yourself to begin? Easy, with a bit of Yharnam blood of your own. But first, you'll need a contract. Good. All signed and sealed. Now, let's begin the transfusion. Oh, don't you worry. Whatever happens, you may think it all a mere bad dream.
Ah, you found yourself a hunter.
Now, the loading times are a bit of a bitch for this. I'll see what I can do about that in post, but no guarantees. Alrighty, so here we are. My Sofka's Clinic. Now, as you can see, I've got a few different weapons. This isn't a weapon you can get in the base game. It's a weapon from the old hunters. It's the Holy Moonlight Sword. As you can see, it's a claymore in this form, but when I use the L1 to turn into a trick weapon, I get this massive fuck-off greatsword. It's a nice weapon. Now, you guys can probably hear a crying baby in the background if you listen pretty hard, every now and then. That's something that I'll explain as we get a little bit further into the game, because it has a lot to do with the lore of Bloodborne. I don't want to skip too far ahead. Now, I was also thinking about what I could do to make this a little bit more interesting while we're here. I figured I might, talk about the lore and such, where I understand it. Before I actually got into Bloodborne, I did read a lot about the lore and watch a lot of videos regarding to the lore of Bloodborne, because I found that particularly interesting, even though I found the game pretty hard to get into. There were a few things I needed to get over before I could really get into it, but that's not really important for this. Anyway, yeah, that's a weapon that you're not really going to see in the base game. It does have a base game, counterpart, and that is Little Big's Holy Blade, which is this one. Yeah, so it's pretty similar. I think the only real significant difference is that at plus 10, the Holy Moonlight Sword does slightly less, but it has other advantages in other areas, like the arcane scaling naturally is a bit more. From what I understand, the arcane scaling, which is the little star that you'll see, it's the third one across, actually doesn't have so much to do with physical damage, but more towards damage that you would do if you infuse it with a blood gem of an elemental type. I haven't infused an elemental blood gem. I'll get to that when we get back to the Hunter's Dream. You'll find out what that is in a few minutes. But last time I played, which was a while back, so I imagine my skills have probably degraded some, I played a heavy strength character, as you can probably tell from the strength being at 49. I'm one off the soft cap. I played a mix of strength and dex, leaning towards strength quite obviously. But this time I'm going to try and change things up a bit. I'll still use the Holy Moonlight Sword if I get stuck in any corners that I don't think I can get out of on my own. But for the most part, I'm probably going to be using the Burial Blade. Now, the Burial Blade is a weapon that you can't get until New Game Plus, and you can only get it if you choose one of the two endings that isn't Yharnam Sunrise. Now, I haven't used the Burial Blade before because, again, this is my first time in this particular one, but as you can see, it transformed to a pretty fucking sweet scythe. So I'm looking forward to get a lot of fucking use out of that. As for the gun I'm using, it is the Hunter's pistol, I do believe. Yep, there it is, +6. I haven't really bothered to upgrade it very much. Guns are mostly just used for, you know, getting a good chance to riposte attacks against your enemy. There's not really much point beyond that. So yeah, I don't really see the point in upgrading that too much. As for the Burial Blade itself, you might notice if we go into here, it's got a +8 next to it. That's because, for those of you who have finished the game, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But after I got a chance to acquire the Burial Blade, I died against the boss directly after that, which sent me back to the dream and gave me a chance to buy it and upgrade before I jump back here. So I'm still going to have to wait to upgrade to +9 and +10, but this will be the weapon we're going to be using throughout most of the game. I'm going to be aiming for a bit more of a dex build this time. As you can probably also see, I've got things like time for hunting and all these little notes popping up. I'm playing online. If you guys get into Bloodborne, I thoroughly recommend you do play online, and mostly that's because those little messages can and will save your life at points. They'll give you little hints, little tips, just things that are going to keep you on your toes. Alright, so I didn't think that was the way we needed to go off the bat, but I figured I'd double check it. Those notes are really important. If you ever want to piece together what happened in Yharnam, you need those. You want to be looking at the architecture, the general look of the streets, the people, the item descriptions, all of that. You need all of it if you want to put this shit together. Now, hopefully I don't piss myself at some point. I'm just going to turn down the sound of the game on my headphones a little bit because it's a little bit stifling. I don't think it'll affect you guys in the actual video, but if it's gone down too low, then hopefully you guys can still hear everything. Now, I'll read through these just so you guys know. You got light attacks with R1, you got heavy attacks with R2. You can mix them together, you can mix it in with L1 to transform the weapon midway through. We've got an enemy coming up, so I'll actually probably show you a couple of combos against him. But yeah, you got your lock on. If you've played Dark Souls, you'll be pretty familiar with this pretty quickly. Oh, I actually really like this thing. I wasn't sure how much I'd like the Burial Blade, but that was actually nice and sweet. Now, I'm not sure if you saw it because it only hit me once, but you might notice I'm missing a bit of health at the top of the screen at the moment. Now, I don't know why I'm doing that. Every time I mention something, I'm pointing towards it, but you guys can't see that. At any rate, when you're in Bloodborne, if you get hit by an enemy, then you lose a little bit of health, as you would in, you know, any game, basically. But if you hit them right after being hit, you can get a bit of it back. If you hit them hard enough and fast enough, you can even get all of it back. Something important to remember if you're on low health and you're running out of blood vials, which are if you look towards the top left-hand side of the screen, you'll see bullets. I've got 5 of them. You see blood vials, there's 20. If you're low on blood vials, that's going to be a real kicker to help you stay alive. Also, enemies that you kill can keep giving you back health for a couple of slices. Before they'll just stop giving health altogether. Oh god, that dude ain't wrong. Let me tell you that much. That dude. The fuck is that sound? I'm very much starting to believe that there are going to be different enemy placements because I do not fucking remember hearing that sound the last time I was here. Alright, that's closed by a device. If you ever see gate closed by a device, it means that the device is usually, if you can't see it next to the gate, on the other side, which means sooner or later you'll get there, unless it's an optional area, in which case you're going to have to do a bit of searching for it. I do know how to get there. We won't be going there for a while though, because we need to hit a few conditions first. Now look, I'm not 100% sure what the fuck that sound is, but I'm not liking it. I am quite interested to see because I really enjoyed Bloodborne the first time around, and I'm really interested in what there's. Oh wait, now I know what that was now. Now this dude is not your friend.
Away! Away!
You're probably gonna see me fuck up a few times like that. I've been playing Dark Souls 3 before I jump back into this, so I'm used to hitting triangle to fucking switch my weapon. Going back to R1 is gonna take a bit of learning. I'm used to one-hitting these dudes too, last game. This is gonna take a lot of getting used to. So I am really liking the Burial Blade. That is probably because the dudes I'm fighting at the moment are some of the fucking, you know, easiest in the game. But, well, I should take that back, not some of them, they are the easiest enemies in the game. They are the first enemies you're going to come up against. The werewolf that we fought a little bit earlier doesn't count, mostly because it was at half health already. Now, this gate won't open, there's actually a lever on the other side. It's a shortcut to get to a later area, one that we'll be at pretty soon. If you ever think about it, shortcuts are basically the lifeblood of any From Software game. You need them to make your life easier. If you want to traverse the world effectively, without spending fucking hours on everything, just get to the simplest areas, you need shortcuts. Now, I'm willing to bet that's old Yharnam down there. Just a sneaking suspicion. Every time I see places like this, I get really impressed by just how fucking interconnected everything is. I remember, I think it was Honest Trailers, where they went, see huge open environments that you will literally get fucking lost in, and they're not kidding. Like, seriously, what the fuck? You can go up ladders a little bit faster if you hold circle. If anyone just wondered what the fuck that is, that was a boss. We'll be meeting him pretty soon. We'll probably end up doing him before we do the first story boss, because that boss is optional. Now, again, that's another shortcut. We're going to be going through there a little bit later on. That's Gilbert. Gilbert is awesome.
Oh, and not one man Gilbert. You must have had a fine time. Well, I don't think I could stand, but I'm willing to. This time, whatever your reasons, whatever can... Pale blood. But if it's blood you're interested in, the church across and deep within Cathedral Ward, the birthplace of Yharnam. Normally, the hunt is on tonight. Across the valley to the deep within lies the... I haven't heard. That's your best.
Anyway, Gilbert is awesome, because Gilbert is basically the only sane person you're gonna meet. Not to say bad things about... Actually, no, fuck it, yes, to say bad things about everyone else, most of them are cunts. 99% of people in those windows are complete and utter wankers. Now, returning to the Hunter's Dream. So, if you've ever played Dark Souls before, there are areas that are basically safe zones. Some places it's Filing Shrine. I'm not sure what it was in Dark Souls 2, because I haven't fucking played that one. Dark Souls 3 was Filing Shrine. Anyway, there's safe areas where you can level up. The Hunter's Dream is that for Bloodborne. You know, I actually need to get into doing some invading. I didn't do it last time. I wouldn't mind getting into doing a bit of invading. Anyway, Hunter's Dream. Welcome to home. Or the closest approximation we're going to get to in this fucking crazy town. Seriously, full of insane people and werewolves. Why the fuck does anyone still live here? I don't know about the rest of you, but if I found out my home city was infected by insane people and werewolves, my response would be, great, selling all my shit and fucking off. Because that is the fucking reasonable response to discovering that everyone has gone insane. It's going, yep, I'm out, and fucking off. I'm a little bit surprised that the doll's not up and walking. So that doll down there, it's called the plain doll. She's your level up. Now, usually you need 1 insight to do that. So if you look to the right-hand corner of the screen, the top one with 23,004, sorry, yeah, sorry, is that 200,000? Yeah, I think it's 200,000. Yes, whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. The ridiculously large number at the top, which is actually pretty small, don't worry about it. You'll get it later. That's your blood echoes. That's the kind of currency for basically everything in the game, except for a few items, which we'll go up to in a minute. The one beneath that is called Insight. Now, usually you need 1 of those to level up. You get them by seeing bosses, killing bosses. There are a few items that give it, and also there's some twisted abominations of nature throughout the game that you can take a look at. That'll give you a good chance to get there. Now, I need to find that stuff. I'm surprised that's there though. I did a few of them, but I didn't do a lot of them. I imagine I can probably get a few of these up, because I did most of the bosses. I don't know if I did all of them. Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure I did all the bosses except the Yharnam Queen. Now, that's the gravestone that will take me to the DLC area. And this is the messenger bath that you buy shit with inside. So as you can see, it's in the corner there. Now, there's a lot of shit you can get. That one comes... I've never really used the blue elixirs. That one I imagine will be pretty handy for PvP, but I've never really found a need for it. Those two come in super handy. I'm gonna buy that now, because apparently that's an infinite use item. I'll buy that one too. But that'll give us a chance to help other people if we want to, and also to invade a couple of people, because that could be some fun to get into. Now, you got this shit here. You can buy bloodstone rocks. You need those to get to +10 for the record. It's worth 60, not really sure if that's totally worth it, because you can get through most of the game with far less than that. Anyway, so you got weapons, which I don't think I actually have any. Look at all this crap. It looks like I can get most of my, so I can get most of the chalice ritual shit here, but none of that. I got this stuff, which is sort of hunter attire that you can pick up. Honestly, I'm tempted to get the Maria set, because I did like Maria's stuff. Only reason I haven't is that I'm pretty sure Maria's gear is a little bit less defensive than mine. Give me a second, let's double check that. I want to be as prepared as I can before yeah, you see I got 110 on my defense, I should go by 80. Not that the defense matters too much. You can fashion souls this motherfucker to the... You can always fashion soul things. Like, I'm at a high enough level with a bit of defense that it's not so much a dependency on that. That being said, Maria's stuff does give me better defense against bullets and such, so it probably plays out about even. I think she's anyway, so we've gone over most of the stuff here. The doll, like I said, you need to level up. Naturally, I can't at the moment. I'm a little surprised because I have 97, had 99 when I came in sight. I figured she'd be up and walking about, but I guess I'll have to go out and come back in. You can buy a lot of stuff from these guys now. Usually I'd say don't worry about buying blood vials. I'm tempted to do it right now just because 206 is pretty sweet. But if you're playing through Bloodborne for the first time, I wouldn't really worry about it. There are a few things that can make your life a little bit easier. Later on, for example, you can get your hands on a lot of stuff that makes it a little bit easier. Like, you can find some enemies that'll give you almost 10,000 blood echoes or more, which makes buying blood vials a little bit easier. Especially because you can line up 4 or 5 of them in a row, slam those bastards out, run straight back, come to the Hunter's Dream, buy a whole bunch of blood vials. It takes you all of 2 minutes. That's when buying them becomes a little bit easier, but overall you're usually better farming for them. Weapon-wise, we've got a whole bunch of stuff here. We've got the Saw Spear, the Saw Cleaver, the Hunter Axe, Threaded Cane, Burial Blade, Blades of Mercy. We've got a lot of stuff we can buy. I'm not sure how much I'm missing, but I imagine it's not much. I imagine I'm missing very little. I've got a whole bunch of stuff here. I don't really care too much for the guns, just because... Well, I mean, look at that. It does 20 damage. Like, that does 9 damage. I'm pretty sure that's one of the more powerful ones. But that does 70. That's from a base. Yeah, the damage on the guns are pretty shitty in comparison to most weapons. Mostly because as you scale up, the guns just don't keep up. I've heard that the cannon, if you use the cannon, where do I have the cannon? No, I don't have access to it. Anyway, you can get a cannon, which I think takes 4 Quicksilver bullets at once, but is apparently pretty useful. At any rate, I don't really think the guns are worth it. You're much more about riposting with them. I should stop wasting time though. I'm kind of just hearing myself talk at this point. Yeah, I know, shut up. Now, this is still happening in New Game Plus, which is a little bit surprising, but it does give me a chance to point this out. Now, when you start Bloodborne, most people will die to the werewolf. Because the first time you do it, you'll be fighting him with no weapons. Don't feel too bad, it's supposed to happen. But when you die, you'll come here. You get a choice of a few different weapons. As you can see, you got the Saw Cleaver, the Hunter's Axe, the Threaded Cane. You can see the damage is represented on the side there. They've all got their own stats. That's going to be the Hunter's Axe is the slowest one, but it does the most damage. It's also got the second... It's either got the most reach or the second most reach in its transform state. The Threaded Cane is the fastest, and it has one of the longest reaches. In its transform state, it's either the longest reach, or it's the second longest. I'm not sure which one on the Hunter's Axe and the Threaded Cane differs there, but... The Threaded Cane itself isn't a bad weapon. It also lets you keep your gun out when you transform it, which some weapons won't let you do. Saw Cleaver hits the happy medium between the two of them, which is, you know, it's not quite as powerful as the axe, but it's faster. It's not quite as long as the cane, but it hits more powerfully. The stuff you see on the box art is the Saw Cleaver and the Blunderbuss. Now, I don't really need any of these, but I have to take one of them, so I'll just grab the Saw Cleaver. And last time I grabbed the pistol, but I grabbed the Blunderbuss this time, so... But I'm not going to use any of them, I just need to take it to sort of finish up this. Now, up here we have a few very important things. So, you got Gurman, who's the NPC here, we'll just listen to what he has to say.
Welcome to the Hunters. I am. You're sure to be enough. Just go out and, you know, it's... This was once a workshop where hunters... We don't... You're well even. This was not even.
Now, I don't know if I have a monocle or a monocular on me, but give me a second here, because some of these books are good for a laugh. I don't think I have one on me, but... I do, actually. Oh shit. What if I can zoom in? Nope. Alright, look, I was trying to look at one of the titles of the books, but basically it says how to pick up fair maidens. Escape this dreadful hunter's dream, halt the source of the spreading scourge of beasts, lest the night carry on forever. Yeah, look, the basic instruction Bloodborne's going to give you is go out and kill shit until we tell you to stop. Once it's given you that instruction, your involvement in the plot is basically up to you. I don't really need anything in my storage. Now, if you're playing this for the first time, the shit you need to know mostly is this thing here is really fucking important. Workshop. You can fortify your weapons and repair them. We'll start with fortification. Now, I actually don't have the stuff to do it to most things here, but this is kind of important. Now, how many of these do I need? I need 6 more of those. I don't think I have the insight to grab that, but... Basically, you have enough bloodstone, and you can improve their abilities. Like, that's going to go from 144 to 152. It's going to be a much bigger jump when you upgrade the weapon than it will just by doing stats most of the time. At least in all at once. Stats will probably still boost it more overall, but in large jumps, it's usually going to be those upgrades. Now, I won't bother upgrading either of those because I don't plan on using them. The Rikuyo I probably won't use just because I think I'm going to stick with the Burial Blade for my next weapon, but that's something that's pretty important. Give me a second here, because I need 6 more Bloodstone chunks. I'll just see how much they're selling for. Ah, yeah, 20 a pop, so I've got 90, I need 4 more of those, 6 more of those. Well, if I need 4 more, I'll probably buy them, because I can always get that back up, but if I need 6 of them. Yeah, look. I'm gonna buy 4 off the bat, and then I'll just have to earn my stuff back up slowly but surely. Not a big deal, really. I don't think I really have the items to buy any more, but I'll double check. Let's see here. What do I got? No. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to buy that outright. That would give me 1 more. I'd need 40 to buy 2 of them. 16. How much inside did I had? 25? 30. Give me 39, yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna go a bit of boss, and that'll give me just enough to sort of do the level up. Now, if you want to leave anywhere from the Hunter's Dream, you can see these tombstones. They're where you're going to use to fast travel out. So we want this one, we want to go to the... Ah, shit. Alright, I went to the first floor sick room. We realistically should have gone to Central Yharnam, but we're going to run this because, more or less, what's going to happen is if I try to go anywhere, I have to go back to the Hunter's Dream first. I don't really feel like sitting through another loading screen. Wouldn't be too bad for you guys. I could just go right, cut here, and we're back. But as you can see, these things aren't exactly short. Besides, being here gives me a chance to do something important. So if we run up these steps and we have a quick chat with the person behind this door.
Are you out on the... Then I'm very sorry. I am Yosefka. The patients... I know that you hunt for us. Please. Now, and good hunt...
Yeah, Yosefka's a doll.
Are you still... But I have not... Please. I can...
Alright, now that we've got that, if you guys are wondering what that really was, then down here in my quick items, I can put that in there, and it basically just gives me a heal that does a bit more. I'm pretty sure it also regens some health over time, so that's also a little bit handy. Now, I don't think that wolf is going to be back. Nope. Which gives me a clean run out the front. I gotta stop assuming that shit's not going to be there, I think, because... if shit really has changed, then I'm going to be in a lot of crap later on when I just assume the path's clear. Now I'm going to see if I can get a riposte off. That was a shitty one. Nope.
Away! Away!
It's going to take some time. I just want to see if I can show you guys the visceral attack. This is going to take a while. Yes, so hold R1 once you're tagging them, and do that. Now, if you guys didn't see, that was 1209 damage, not 12,000. That's pretty significant. Now, your dex plays a pretty big part in that. Just let me go to the stats screen for a second. So, as you can see, I say dex, skill is what it's called in Bloodborne. But basically, for every point above 18, your visceral damage will go up pretty significantly. Now, there are hard and soft caps of your different stats, but we're not really going to worry about that just yet. Now, I could go back to the Hunter's Dream and do a level up, but I think I'm going to try and get that shortcut there open first, just so that you guys don't have to watch me jump back there twice. And I imagine most of you are probably fucking sick of hearing me talking the Hunter's Dream at this point, so... let's get on with this. Now, pebbles are pretty useful. They let you really break up the enemy, let you break up large groups of enemies. You can probably see there's a lot of guys going up there. There'll be a large concentration of enemies just around the corner that we can't see. And you really, when you first start, the game wants you to use those pebbles to sort of draw out the ones you can. Now, you can also see that there's an ambush here. It's completely wasted. But whatever, come at me, bro. Poor on my part. Now, I'm doing a very poor job of it, but the green bar is stamina, and managing that shit is important. Now, I've managed to fuck that up pretty significantly. Now, we could drop here and take out that guy, but we're not going to. We're going to run around the long way, and there's a good reason for that. Part of it's because I want to show you guys a bit more of the game, but most of it's because there's a shortcut we can take. Damn, they are doing pretty significant damage. Now, you might notice that gate from earlier. That's why we're coming down here, so we can get that shortcut opened up. Make our lives a bit simpler in the long run. Yeah, I had a feeling I heard somebody. Oh man, learning the fucking angle is just a bitch to me. Oh shit. as you can see, these guys are going to completely wreck my shit if I fuck up. A big part of Bloodborne and From Software games in general is working out when's a good time to engage and when it's time just to back the fuck off and get in the face. Now, I could have handled that a lot better. I could have handled that a lot better than I did. So as you can see, this is a shortcut we passed earlier. We're just going to pop this thing. That guy down there is called Executioner. Now, you usually fight them a lot later in the game, but since I've passed this thing already, we're going to try our luck. We're going to very quickly fail, I would wager, but we're going to try our luck nonetheless. Now, the wonderful, wonderful world of the Executioners is that if you use a strong attack when they're blocking, you can break the guard and wallop them a couple of times, or just once, because that fucker is powerful. And that always hurts. Honestly, I expected that to go a lot worse than it did. Now I've got 20 blood vials left. So, yeah, we're going to keep going. We've opened up this. Now, as you can see, that gives us a bit of a shortcut back, so we don't have to run all the way around next time. We can just drop down that ladder and run on through. If we do die, though, we might keep running over. We might try dropping down in there instead. Now, I don't remember. Is there anyone I can talk to along here? Doesn't look like it. I think there are a few people a bit further up, but most of them are cunts. You'll find me using that word pretty often to describe the people of Bloodborne. Ooh, werewolves on fire. Well, that's a pretty good name for a band, actually.
Are you that? Well, sorry, but trot along.
Yeah, they're going to be basically competitive cunts to everybody that you meet.
Are you? Well, trot.
Yep. That's why I said Gilbert's awesome, because Gilbert's one of the only people you're going to meet who is actually a decent human being. Most of them are just cunts.
Lazio, you'd open it away with.
Now then, some people will try to pretend they're dead, and they won't let you lock on unless you get nice and close. And there's also a guy behind me. I'll admit, wasn't expecting that. Okay, you're not gonna lie, that was a little bit more intense than I was expecting. Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Away! Away! Huh? That one was better. Okay. Alright, I think that's all of them for now. Awesome. Now, heading up here, there's gonna... Alright, so... if you ever see an item sitting in the middle of nowhere, there's a colloquial term for that called fucking trap. Keep that in mind, please. Now, Bloodstone Shard that I just picked up, if you're looking to upgrade a weapon from like a standard to all the way to a +3, I'm pretty sure, that's what you want for it. Now, you can find a fair few of them around here, but like you can find a fair few of them around here. If you're willing to take the time and effort, you can basically grind out to a +3 weapon before you leave Central Yharnam. It's not the most enjoyable action in the world, but the fuck? Oh, bullshit. Yeah, I don't think anyone's actually found any fucking illusionary walls or anything outside of Chalice dungeons, but I'm interested in... I don't even know... unless that dude's just being a fucking troll. You know, I'm just gonna go with the troll theory and move on. Look. So as you can see, there's a large amount of enemies down there. Now... ah, fuck. I was really hoping they wouldn't notice me. Don't get me wrong, they're not that hard to kill, it's just more a matter of I was hoping not to have to fight all of them at the same time. Better than a kind of. Alright, now luring is really effective. You use a. Sorry, one second, just let me finish this. There's gonna be a thing in it. You'd really think these guys have noticed the pile of dead bodies over here, but whatever. Pretty sure most of them cut out their own eyes. We'll get to the point of that later. Anyway, so we've got this dude over here. Now, as you can see, there's no real way down the stairs, but we can flank by dropping through here. Now, a couple of things you want to be wary of is, as you can see the dude in the top hat, he's going to have a gun, and there's another dude with a gun up there. Now, that means we're basically going to be at a disadvantage if we take both those guys out. I'm pretty sure there's a dog hiding behind the far carriage too. They're not hard, they're just annoying. My advice first, take out the gun guy. Take out him and then run the fuck away. Ow. Standing still when there's a dude with a gun around is a death sentence. If you can, ideally you don't want to engage large groups of enemies unless you have a plan. Or you can run back in like this, take some health off, dodge your ass away. Whatever you do though, don't run in one straight fucking line. That's not good. Now if you damage people, there's a good chance they're gonna fall. Not a 100% chance, but a good chance. Back, please. Pretty sure I used to get like 75 off those guys, so getting 200 is actually pretty sweet. Now, the second guy is going to be a bit tougher to take care of because, well, we're going to get around a couple of people to get into him. Fortunately, there's a lot of obstacles between me and him. There's the first and second one. All but useless. Ow. Alright, so now we've solved one problem, which is the fact that we had a dude with a gun. Now we have to take care of the rest. Oh man, I'm playing pretty poorly right now. How many times I can get away without doing any damage to these fuckers? Away! Away! Alright, now we got most of them, so we got this one last guy here left. You might have noticed that visual attack gave me all the health he just took away back, which is the awesome thing about this. Now, dogs are a little bit annoying. They've got a couple of wicked bites, but they do have one weakness if you're willing to waste a bullet. And that weakness is, if you shoot them, they'll fall over. Which gives them a prime position to get mauled by you. Now, I'm not saying that's a fix-all to your problem, but if you've got the spare bullets and you don't mind using them, it's not a bad way to put them down. Especially if you can't be bothered dealing with their bullshit. Remember to collect every item that the people drop too. You want every edge you can possibly get your hands on in this game. I'm not kidding. Every last one of them. Now that cold blood dude, give me a second, because I just want to take a moment to explain this. Now, ignoring all the various shit I've got lodged up here, there it is. So, there are some items, much like souls in the Dark Souls series, that you can crush to get extra blood echoes. This is one of them. If memory serves, this doesn't give me very much, I know that much. Yeah, 350. Look, considering I'm getting 250 per kill, that's, you know, that's fucking fuck all, but at the beginning of the game, when you're just starting out, it's a lot more significant. Now, the dude who was hammering on that is a giant. Not like a big one. Trust me, we'll see some big giants later on. But this dude is pretty fucking hefty. Now, we could do a summon here, which is summoning Father Gascoigne, and basically, if we want to do that, it'll cost us 1 insight, and we'll get a dude up, and he'll basically help us wreck some face. Now, we're not going to do that. Actually, you know what? We're not going to do that because I don't have the insight to do that, and to fucking, I don't think I'll have the insight to do that, and to, do an upgrade. Now, despite what this guy looks like, he knows we're here. If I try to walk away from that motherfucker up to the left, he's going to turn around and wall at me from behind. So if you're ever in this situation, there's nobody around, take this dude out while you have the chance. He knows you're there, don't try to sneak up on him. My advice is running R2. Get right up in his face, deal some damage. Surprisingly enough, they're actually a little bit easier to dodge at close range than they are at long range. They're also stunned by R2 hits, so keep that one in mind if you get the chance for it. They're down on low health, guys, don't get fancy. If you ever fight a dude on low health, guys, don't get fancy, you know it works. You don't need to be fucking the fanciest motherfucker at the ball. Simple, quick attacks do the job. You find an opening, you exploit that thing. Now, despite the fact I'm going this way, this isn't actually the way we're going to head. As I noted earlier, before we go back to the Hunter's Dream and do a level up, or hopefully more, I'm hoping that I can get a couple more than 2 levels up out of the amount of blood echoes I have. I don't know if I will. I'm hoping I will. I forget how much it actually costs me to upgrade at my level. Now, as you can see, there are some... One second, I just want to check what that is. Now, I know for a fact there are some, like, crow heads around here somewhere, so I'm a little bit wary of them, but... Memory serves, these guys are assholes too.
I don't reckon you're swell, are you?
Yeah, everyone's a dick. Hence why I like Gilbert. Now, I mentioned shortcuts and secret paths earlier. So, behind these, there's a drop-off point. Now, this will take us back to that, first area I mentioned earlier with the gate. We won't go there straight away, but it will take us there. Now, as you can see, there's some dogs in cages. There are some dogs we're going to have to fight around here. You know what, I'm just going to take the chance to fuck off while they're not chasing me. Anyway, if we head up here, now you got a few ways you can go from here. You can keep going up, or you can go down there. Now there are 2 of those fuckers down there, so I don't recommend that. Not yet, at least. You are going to need to go down there later, though, so don't think you're off of that forever. Now this, grab the cold blood, run back down. And the reason you get to fight those 2 later is there's another shortcut down there. Unfortunately, it's not one you... Sorry, I thought I heard running and it was coming for me. But, that shortcut's not one we can take right now. We need to get to it another way. Now, this is a shortcut to the other area. Now, I don't know if I can see him, but there's a dude hiding in the darkness just inside, so... There he is. And you better get used to people trying to hide from you. Now, remember what I said about those things saving your life? Treat elderly with care. There's a reason for that, because he's an enemy. If you ever get the chance, back attack people as much as you can. Now, you can hear some voices, I'm pretty sure. I am 99% sure you guys can hear those. Now, they're upstairs. And if we can get to them, we have a good chance. Now, like I said, these are very important if you'd like to double check sort of where you're going and what you're doing. Give me 1 second, I'm just going to have to tab out of this for a minute. Because I think I just heard something go wrong. No, we're still recording, sweet. I'll hopefully have a chance to edit that out in post. I'm not sure if I will or not. I'm very new with the editing tool I'm using, so... Not sure I'm going to pull that off. Anyway, when the hunt began, the Healing Church abandoned us by blocking the Great Bridge to the Cathedral Ward, as they burned Old Yarnum to the ground on that moonlit night. Now, Old Yarnum is a place we're going to be going a little bit later on, but that should give you your first hint that the Healing Church ain't really the nicest bunch of people. Then again, they're a church in fiction, so fucking course they're not. Like, that's about, like, churches in fiction being corrupt and evil is about as fucking surprising as the sun rising at this point. Like I said, there's a few more ambushes. You can see that dude over there. The reason for that is, one, because my monitor's brightness is a little bit high, I'm willing to bet. And the second one is because I've got a pretty good idea on where these guys are. I was really thinking he was going to do that one stab. Anyway, up here isn't really what we want, but it will get us to the boss where we're going to sort of end our Let's Play for today. Now, what we're going to be looking at through here is that little shortcut we found earlier. So, you just walk outside, look around, get all that. Now, there is a dude with an axe up here, so please be aware. Don't just fucking treat this like a Sunday stroll. I can time my visceral attack. No guarantee I can. I'm not sure what that looked like to the rest of you, but I'm fairly certain I just ripped that guy's cock and balls off. I'm gonna need to wash that hand. Anyway, as you can see, we're back near Gilbert now. So we pop this thing open. And there we have it. That's our... now we're back here. Now, because since we're going to the Hunter's Dream for the second time, I didn't select the first time, I get that, but most people won't have it until the second, third, maybe fourth time they go back there, I'd wager. Especially when you factor in the amount of times you're going to die. Anyway, we go back here. I think I actually got the Workshop Haze Extractor the last time I played, so that's another thing. And now she's up and about. And she is your single greatest friend in this game. Like, don't get me wrong, Gilbert's awesome, but this chick right here is fucking #1 waifu.
Good hunter.
No shit.
I am a doll, here in this honorable hunter, and you will hand me to embolden your...
Alright, now the doll's does a lot of good for you. Like, channeling Blood Echoes to level up is naturally her main function, but if you talk to her at certain points during the story, you also get a few snippets that cast a pretty disturbing light on her, which is more than a little weird, but also they sort of give you a bit of background information if you want to do a bit of extra searching. She also occasionally wanders around the Hunter's Dream, and you can find her and overhear snippets of dialogue that'll also help you piece things together. I don't think you can ever really unveil or unravel the full story of Bloodborne. I just don't really think that was ever the point. And if you do think that's the point, well, that's up to you, but I don't believe that. I think the idea is you get a broad strokes picture, but the details might be a little masked. Anyway, channeling Blood Echoes. As you guys might imagine, you are not going to need anywhere near the number I'm going to need to level up, but we're going to hammer the decks a little bit. I get 3 levels up, joy. Okay, so if anyone was wondering, the 600 is how much my fucking sword does at the moment, and the 285 is how much that how much the burial blade does. So we're gonna up that, and we're gonna see that a bit higher. Now, I don't really think I'm gonna be able to upgrade again before the end of the session today, but hopefully. Alright, that's all we really need to do here. So that's basically level upping in a nutshell.
Farewell, good hunter. May you...
Oh, actually, while we're here...
welcome... What?
Give me 1 second.
Well.
Bear with me for a moment, just in case it's your first time playing Bloodborne. I figure I'll just give you a quick overview. So, Vitality is your HP, Endurance is naturally your Stamina. Now, if you've hit the hard cap for Endurance, I believe it's 40? Sorry, the soft cap, I should say. I'm pretty sure that the soft cap for Endurance is 40. If you hit that, fuck off and level something else. As for why I say that, it's because, as you can see, the Stamina... If you go over to the middle sort of bar there, if you go for the middle pocket, just below HP you'll find Stamina. As you can see, it's 133 to 133. That's because I naturally can't put any points in. But at 40 Endurance, your Stamina is, if memory serves, 160. So it's 160 Stamina at 40 Endurance. At 99 Endurance, which is your hard cap, you have 170 Endurance. So you get 10 extra Endurance for however many more points. If you hit 40 Endurance, fuck off and level something else, because everything else is more valuable to you at that point. Strength naturally is going to increase your weapon damage for things that scale in strength, like the Hunter's Axe, Ludwig's Holy Blade, things like that. The Sword Cleaver does to a degree. As you can see, I hit pretty hard with a strength weapon because I'm a strength build. I imagine when my skill gets up that high, it'll still be a little bit lower, I'd wager, because strength weapons tend to have a bit more of damage, base damage on them. But it'll still be pretty high. I'd give a pretty fair whack to that. Blood Tinge mostly has to deal with your bullets and how much damage they do. If everyone's looking there and going, no wonder your guns are so shit, yeah, I get that, but you only get 20 bullets at a time, so I didn't really see the point in raising it all that much. I use them for riposting, I don't really use them for damage. I'm sure there are viable bullet damage builds, but I'm really not interested in them. Arcane. Now this is one that I'm going to spend a little bit of time on, mostly just because I feel this is an important point to get across. If you are starting Bloodborne for the first time, I would not recommend you playing an Arcane build, not off the bat. Because Arcane builds, from everything all the data I've collected and everything I've read, only really come into their own towards the late game, which means you're going to be playing a subpar build for most of the game. Now, if that extra challenge is your idea of fun, you go off and have the best time of your life, mate, that's on you. But if you're interested in really sort of getting into the meaty challenge as quick as you can and not banging your head on a brick wall that's just fucking being reinforced by titanium because you're an idiot, then my advice is Arcane is something you invest in near the end of the game, and if you want to try an Arcane build, then get all the tools for it on your first playthrough and start putting them into practice on the second playthrough. Now, Arcane does have another plus point to it, however, and that is Arcane affects your item discovery. So the higher that you can push your Arcane, the more chance you have of finding items. Now, if you are someone who is playing a bullet-based build, then I would probably recommend you putting a lot of points into Blood Tinge and Arcane, because you're going to need bullets, and you're going to need them pretty fucking badly. Now, if that is an approach you're going to take, please keep in mind that your item discovery tops out at 50. So if your Arcane points are at 50, that is as high as you can go to increase your item discovery rate. That being said, if you're pissing in points into Arcane for item discovery, you better have everything else exactly where you want it, because otherwise you are pissing into the wind, my friend. Pissing into the wind. Alright, thanks for bearing with me on that, guys. I'm just going to take a quick teleport back to Central Yharnam. Now, we've got that new shortcut open, so what we're going to do is, we're pretty much running on to like the end of this little Let's Play for the time being, is we're going to go fight a boss. Now, under most circumstances, I'd usually grab some help for it, but it's been a while since I've played Bloodborne, so I want to sort of test myself without grabbing, I could go and grab Father Gascoigne and probably make this a lot easier for myself, but I don't want to. I want to try and run this myself and just see sort of where I am. If I die 3 or 4 times, I imagine I'll summon him though. Now, we're going to go down this way, because it's going to be... Ooh, actually, is this going to be faster or longer? No, it's going to be faster. Now, we got this guy. We'll just bitch slap him into oblivion. Bad boy. Come on, you cunt. I really thought he was going to run forward. Oh, well, my nose is red and fine. Anyway, we're going to go back through this house. Now, I mentioned earlier that there were 2 dudes down here. There's one, the second one's probably up a little bit further. There he is. Now, you can probably see the doorway off in the distance behind them. That's a shortcut from a little bit of a later area of Central Yharnam. We're going to get to that eventually, but right now, they're not really a big priority for me. Now, I am going to kill Wheelchair Guy again. I want the bullets. Oh, shit. Now, again, there's a lot of things we can do. Now, we actually do have an NPC out there that we can go talk to. Look, I'm probably going to edit this next part out of the stream again, but just let me see how long we've actually been... No, it's not stream. Let me check out and just see how long we've been recording for. Shit, I actually don't think this has a counter for that. No, wait, there it is. We've been recording for almost an hour. Alright, look. We'll go talk to the NPC next time. I don't really want to make this any longer than an hour video, to be honest with you. Now, as we know, we've got a dude here and a dude over there. We're going to take these fuckers out. And usually I finish on the boss that considering I mentioned that I'd do an upgrade a little earlier, I think I'll finish on the upgrade itself. Just so I can make a point of how much we're going to jump up and sort of just where we're going with this. Now, we've taken care of them. If we go up here, we're going to find ourselves on a bridge. Now, the bridge itself isn't too much of a big deal here, don't get me wrong. It's a nice bridge, but it's nothing special. What is special is the fact that there's an optional boss on it. I want to make that very clear. Optional boss. You do not actually have to fight what we're going to fight right now. As you saw me get earlier, there was a visceral attack with a bullet where I shot him and then shoved my arm into most dude's chest and ripped off that one guy's nutsack. That's another way of doing it. If you can get behind someone, charge up a full-powered R2 and they live through it, most of them will be staggered and you can do another visceral attack on them. As you no doubt saw, that went straight up his arsehole and gave him an early colonoscopy. Now, those two down there we actually don't have to fight. Not if we don't want to. So later on, when we approach this bridge from the other angle, we can actually bypass those guys entirely, run down the other side, and we're going to find ourselves in a sewer system. That sewer system is sort of where we're going to find we're going to move on to get to the next part of the game. If we go this way, however, you might see one giant. He's got some crows around him. Everything there is an enemy. Now I need to play this with back, I was going to deal with these guys and the wolves. Usually I'd give a little bit more ground than that, so that I could back up a little bit and charge in where I wanted, but yeah, not really an option where I was. Now, as I said, this shit's going to save your life, and that's these sort of notes. If you see shit like giant beast waits ahead, you can usually assume you're going to be running into a boss room or possibly a mini-boss. Usually with giant, if it's a mini-boss, you'll see hunter waits ahead. Now, some hunters are NPCs and friendly. They're very much in the minority. But if you can lock on and it has a health bar... Actually, no, ignore that part, because I'm pretty sure you can lock on to some of the friendly ones as well. Rule of thumb, if it tries to attack you or shoot you in any way, murder its ass. Anyway, if we walk through here, we're going to get a something charging at us from just over that... you can probably see the archway in the distance. It's going to jump over that. If you guys can see the clock tower in the distance, I'm fairly certain that's the astral clock tower. That'll come a bit more importance in the Old Hunters DLC. But that's somewhere we're going to go a little bit later. Well, actually, quite a bit later. If any of you guys are still with me when that happens, try to remember back to this. Anyway, run in. Let's have a boss fight, shall we? Bloody triangle. There we go. If anyone's standing there, I'll ask themselves, are you trying to visceral attack this motherfucker? Yes, I was. Alright, come on, you bitch. Last time I fought the cleric beast, I was seriously overloaded. This is actually a little surprising seeing it come from at the right level for it. I know I really shouldn't be surprised, but I kinda am. Not gonna lie, there's a big fucking part of me wants to swap over to the Holy Blade and just fuck this shit up. Wondering if you actually can visceral attack this thing. The answer is yes. I'm just really poor at it. Come on, camera, fuck off. By the way, when it down floors, that was a good chance for a vicious attack. I just fucked it off. I'm sorry for not talking more during this, just I'm really trying to concentrate. Yes, if I hit its head, I get another one. Oh no, I actually didn't know that I was wrong. I know I could do it to Lawrence. Didn't know I could do it to basic clarification. Makes sense in retrospect. Down, motherfucker! Die, motherfucker, die, motherfucker, die! Oh man, that feels good. Oh really, Arcane is effective. Huh. Alright, so I guess Arcane's apparently good for that one. Anyway, pop that off. So that was our Cleric Beast. Now keep in mind that is an optional boss, but I do recommend doing it, because again, as you probably saw, I got a fair whack of Blood Echoes for that. I'm on New Game Plus naturally, so I'm getting a bit more, but even just on standard New Game, it's pretty fucking handy. Now we're going to go back to the Hunter's Dream. I'm also going to make a quick point just to one of the weapon stores, but just one of the stores where that is, so I can make a quick thing for you guys. And I'm kind of stuck at what to do for these fucking, I'm just kind of stuck at what to do for those loading screens. I guess I have to edit them out. Look, I'm going to have to pop out of this for one more second. The reason I keep doing this is I keep hearing like a little ding in the background in my comm, and I just want to keep making sure that the recording hasn't stopped or anything. Give me 1 second here. No, it looks like it's all one solid attempt, so I really don't know what that's about. I'll see if I can edit that out in post, but I'm hoping I can, but I'm pretty new to the editing tool, so no promises there. I'm not going to make a promise I can't keep on that one. Anyway, like I said, I just wanted to show you guys something. So, the cleric beast we killed, well, I killed. Roll it over, you can see this part here, it's a key item. Hunter Chief Emblem. Now, when we get to the Cathedral Ward, which will hopefully be next video, which is just after Gascoigne, we'll probably won't get the whole way through it, because there are a few things we need to run through, and Cathedral Ward's fucking... Well, actually, I'll take that back. We probably won't get through Cathedral Ward next video. We'll probably start entering towards... we'll probably start hitting the beginning of Old Yharnam, maybe a little bit further next video. If we can, we might make it all the way through Old Yharnam, which will really start opening up Cathedral Ward to us. But that Hunter Chief Emblem will let us bypass Old Yharnam entirely and make it basically an optional zone. Now, you can do that. I don't recommend it, though. Now, the Chief Hunter Emblem, you can only get if you kill the Cleric Beast. And my advice is kill the Cleric Beast, but don't buy that. Because, basically, Old Yharnam might be optional, but the EXP, the items, and everything you can get from there, are just, they'll really help you in the long run. I don't really recommend buying that, you can avoid it. Anyway, moving on, let's do a quick level up.
Welcome home. What is it you... Very well, let me...
Now, am I going to pop... How much is that going to give me? That's 94. That's not even giving me anything. That's 94. That's 36. You know what? I'm going to pop skill again. I think when I hit like 35 skill, I'll probably start investing in endurance again. Just because once I hit that, I can start upping my endurance to 40. And if I hit 40, then I'm basically golden. Now...
Did you speak? He was a hunt. He is obscure. Still, he stays such as...
Like I said, if you talk to the doll, she can give you a few...
Speak word.
You know... She can give you a bit of dialogue that'll let you sort of help piece things together. So, I kind of know the full story of Gurman, but if you're playing for the first time, that's where you're going to start sort of learning about Gurman and the old hunters. The little ones, I'm honestly not sure what the fuck those things are, to be honest. I never really worked that part out. I suspect they're connected to whatever maintains this place, but I got nothing. And Gurman's disappeared again, of course, fucking ass. Now, apparently Gurman appears outside at times, but honestly, I've never been able to find him except in the house. I'm not sure if that's just a glitch in my game or not, because I know quite a few people who have mentioned he has dialogue outdoors that you can find. It's apparently pretty rare dialogue, but it does happen. Now, the gate out there is where you're going to find the end game. Like, that's the last little area of the game. It's not going to open for a while. Oh, in case you're wondering what that one was, that says emergency quicksilver bullets. Basically, if I hit up on... You know, I'll do it for you, but if I hit up on the D-pad, take some health, but I get 5 extra bullets. Now, I'm a little bit annoyed I have to grind for health items because they're not automatically replenished like they are in Dark Souls. This kind of annoys me. I don't mind it so much for bullets because it plays a bit more into combat, but we'll talk about that later. Anyway, I'm going to do an upgrade on the Burial Blade now. Just give me a second here, because I'm going to need to get, I think it needs 2 more Bloodstone Rocks, if memory serves. Probably should have just used that while I was in there. Fortify weapon, that, yeah, I need 2 more Bloodstone, sorry, not Bloodstone Rocks, Bloodstone Chunks. Now, that's going to cost me 40 insight. Now, I don't mind spending that so much, because I can always get more insight at this point. Like, that's not really all that hard right now. So, use multiple, let's use... If I use 15 of them, I'm going to make it just over, which is good. If you're wondering why I didn't use all of them, it's because some enemies can actually drain your insight. Now, initially, you're not going to find many enemies even remotely capable of that. But I sort of like keeping it on me just so that... I sort of like keeping at least one madman's knowledge on me just so that, if I do end up with no insight, I'm not sort of completely fucked and set up shit creek without a paddle. I've still got a way I can level up, even if, you know, I'm gonna have to be really careful from that point onward.
Now, as for upgrading, it's pretty simple. If you have all the stuff and you have enough blood echoes, 660 in this case, 8 bloodstone chunks, hit X, it'll ask you if you're sure. The blue number will let you know sort of what you're going up to. So we're going from 144 to 152. That's a nice little bonus. And that gives me a +9. Now, you need a bloodstone rock to upgrade to +10. Now, there are 2 locations to get bloodstone rocks in this game. There's only 2 of them in the entire game. If you haven't got the old hunters, there's just 1 of them. How much insight do we need to purchase one? So we need 60 insight for a bloodstone rock. There's a pretty good chance we're going to end up buying it. And then the reason I mention that is because we've really got nothing else to spend that insight on. So might as well, right? Anyway, so let's get back to Old Yarnum. And we'll, sorry, I should say Old Yarnum. Let's go back to Central Yarnum. We'll end the stream there. So we're going to awaken at the Great Bridge. Just after we've killed the Cleric Beast. And I hate these loading screens. You guys probably got it a bit better, because I wager I've edited out a few of these if I've found out how to do that. If not, then I'm sorry you had to suffer through them with me. They actually managed to patch these to a degree. What I mean by that is, I'm not sure if they're any faster, but they used to just be Bloodborne, the logo in the middle. At least now I have item descriptions. Granted, I know all of them off by fucking heart at this point, but at least I have item descriptions. Anyway. So next time we come back, we're going to continue from this point here. We'll just be running forward, and we're just going to see where we end up. So, system, it's a game, yep. Yeah, so look, thanks for joining me for this first stream. I shouldn't really say stream, because I'm not really streaming it, but thanks for joining me for this first Let's Play. Guys, I suppose we could call it a walkthrough as well, because I have gone through it once before. But I'm really thankful you guys joined me. I hope you guys will join me again next week when we do the next session of this. You know, so hope you guys see you then. If you guys like the video, then, you know, if you give it a thumbs up, that'd be great. As you know, Bull in a China Shop's a new channel, and you know, we can use all the exposure we could get, basically. But if you guys want to subscribe, like, you know, if you want to dislike, that's perfectly okay too. You know, let me know what I'm doing. Let me know what I'm doing wrong. Let me know what I'm doing right. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. This is Lenny from Bull in a China Shop, signing off.